Yes, Jayashree, good evening. Yes, Rituparna, good evening. Good evening, Kiruba. Yes, guys, somebody please ping me if I'm audible. Yes, guys, please ping me if I'm audible. Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform. Let's crack UPSC CSE English. Now, before I start with a very important session today on Emergence of Gandhi and Rowlatt Act, let me introduce myself for the people who are new on the platform. My name is Alok Ojha. I've done my engineering from Pune. I have been associated with the field of UPSC since past 6 to 6.5 years. I have been through various stages of civil services exam. I hold the experience of giving serious SSB twice. I also hold the experience of exams like CAPF Assistant Commandant and Uttar Pradesh PSC. I am involved into the field of teaching since past 4 to 4.5 years and I have mentored more than 10,000 students for UPSC. Now, before I start with a very dynamic, very important topic for modern India, that is emergence of Gandhi, Rowlatt Act and Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre, let me introduce you to the platform in short. Now, there might be a question in the mind of an aspirant why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. So here are the ample of reasons why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. First of all, you'll have daily life classes on the Unacademy platform. Unacademy offers you assimilation of top and dynamic educators of India on a single platform. You can directly interact with the educators, you can clear all sorts of doubts with the educators. Second most important aspect is developing competence or building up competitiveness. And I've time and again said you why competence or competitiveness is important in civil services. Each year, approximately around 8 to 9 lakh forms are being filled up for UPSC, out of which 3 to 4 lakh appear in the prelims exam, out of which 10 to 11,000 qualify the prelims exam, 3 to 4,000 qualify the mains exam, and finally 800 to 1,000 make into the final list. So if I filter it down, how many filled up the form? It was approximately around 8 to 9 lakh. How many made into the final list? Approximately around 8 to 800 to 1,000. So we need to understand one important fact here. One aspirant is competing with 800 to 900 other aspirants. And in that case, he needs to build up that sort of competence or competitiveness because he is not only competing with the fellow aspirant in a district, he is competing on pan India basis. That is why competence is important. And Unacademy helps you to build up your competence by going through live tests and quizzes. Then all the courses on Unacademy platform are highly structured in nature and there is a proper timetable through which the courses are being conducted. One can have unlimited access to the courses on Unacademy platform. These are the few top and dynamic educators of India from whom you are going to learn through. These are the courses being offered on the Unacademy platform. Subscribe to Unacademy and use my code AKOUS. I repeat the code AKOUS. Now there is also something called as iconic subscription. Now what is iconic subscription? Suppose you are a beginner. Now initially a beginner usually faces a problem with right timetable, right strategy that needs to be chalked down. Which book should be read? How much time should be dedicated to newspaper reading? Which newspaper should be read? What should be the technique for answer writing? What should be the technique for essay writing? How an approach should be built up for various GS papers. So your work has been very simplified by a mentor. So as per iconic subscription, there would be a mentor who would be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services preparation. So in simple words, this is all about iconic subscription. So iconic subscription is all about mentoring. So a mentor who has an experience of this exam will be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services preparation. If you choose me as your mentor, please use my code AKOUS. I repeat the code AKOUS. Good evening, Madhuri. Good evening, Supriya. Good evening, Naveen. Namaskar. Good evening, Amiya. Good evening, Shipra. Good evening, Harmeet. Yes, hello, Dipesh. Good evening, Aisha. Okay, guys. So let's start up with a very important topic, that is emergence of Gandhi. Now, my friends, for the people who are new on the platform and who are attending my session for the first time, like I usually follow a very simplistic pattern throughout the entire course of history. And that pattern is SFC, story, fact, and concept. Because I personally believe it is quite easier to remember the fact and the concept when it is associated with a story. Isn't that so? So throughout my history, that is in the ancient India that I have completed around 20 sessions of modern India. So I have followed a very simplistic pattern of SFC, that is story, fact, and concept. Now let us start about emergence of Gandhi and role of MK Gandhi in the national movement. So yes, guys, let's get started quickly. Yes, good evening, Nagraj. Now, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1869 at a place called as Porbandar in Gujarat. Now it is said that his father Karamchand Gandhi was a diwan. Diwan basically means a minister who is involved in collecting the revenue. So he was working for a local Raja. His father, that is Karamchand Gandhi, was working for a local Raja as a diwan. That is, he used to keep the accounts and collect the revenue. This person, MK Gandhi, was married at a very early age, that is, at the age of 13, to Kasturba Gandhi. And after that, he set sail to London to acquire his degree in law. Now, when he was going to London, he had given certain vows to his mother. He had promised certain things to his mother, that he will keep himself aloof from wine, meat, and women. So he had vowed these things. He had promised these things to her mother. Now, initially, when MK Gandhi went to London, initially he faced a lot of problem with the food. Like I'll give you a very small example. I was reading in a book called as My Experiments with Truth. It is a book associated with the life of MK Gandhi. In this book, Gandhi has mentioned certain incidences of his life in London, South Africa, and in India. So, as he has promised to his mother basically that he's not going to eat meat at any condition. So, when he went to London, the temperature in London was quite cold initially, and he had hired a room. Now, in London, he had a friend named as Dr. Mehta. Now, I'm citing you an incidents that how he was sticking to his vow. Like as he has promised to his mother, he never breached the vow. He never broke the promise. So there was his friend called as Dr. Mehta. Okay. Now, basically, Dr. Mehta visited his room and he saw the room and he saw the furniture in the room and he said that basically this room is not worth living. You should shift with a particular family so that you will get a proper food. And secondly, when you are coming to London, you will learn a different culture here. You'll come to know about the etiquettes and the manners of the people around the world. So it's better you shift up with a family. So MK Gandhi decided to shift with a family and he shifted with a particular family. Now, basically, this person was completely vegetarian, MK Gandhi. So what happened? MK Gandhi usually had to starve at the lunch and at the dinner. Okay, because reason behind that is basically in the morning he used to get porridge. Okay, porridge in Hindi we call it as kheer or whatever like. In the morning he used to get porridge, he used to get bread and jam basically. But in the lunch, basically there were boiled fruits, sorry, boiled vegetables like spinach specifically. And that boiled spinach had to be eaten up with the salt and certain additional spices. So MK Gandhi did not like that taste. So what did MK Gandhi used to do? And basically there was meat in the lunch, there was meat in the dinner. So MK Gandhi did usually avoided the meat and he used to get milk usually in the morning. So he used to have a very heavy breakfast so that he shouldn't feel hungry during the lunch and the dinner. And this happened for months basically. Now his friend Dr. Mehta said that there is no point in maintaining the woe that has been given to an illiterate mother. These are the words used by Dr. Mehta to MK Gandhi. But MK Gandhi was hell bent on keeping up the promise. He was hell bent on keeping up the vow that he has given to his mother, that I'm not going to eat meat at any cost. So it is said that MK Gandhi in India had never read a newspaper. He said that he was never used to reading the newspaper. But when he was in London, he was reading newspaper on daily basis. And the reason he had cited that in the newspaper you usually see the column that houses on rent and so on, so that he could find an Indian family and basically have a healthy diet and food there. So by this way he developed the habit of reading newspaper and analyzing the news. And there is a very wonderful quote associated with it, and MK Gandhi has given a very wonderful quote: newspaper should always be read to keep yourself updated. It should not kill the habit of independent thinking. Such a wonderful statement given by MK Gandhi. So it is said that one fine day, MK Gandhi found a restaurant which was an Indian restaurant and he was very happy with it. So the major purpose of telling the entire story, okay, the major purpose of telling the entire story is that he had given a vow to his mother and he was hell bent on maintaining that vow. Okay, now it is said that he was introduced to Bhagavad Gita for the first time in London, and MK Gandhi met many theosophists in London. Now I have talked about Theosophical Society when I was speaking about social religious reform. So what is Theosophical Society? Theosophical Society was formed by American Colonel Olcott and a Russian lady Blavatsky. Now it was formed in New York basically. Okay. Now MK Gandhi, when he went to London, he met many theosophists. He met many followers of Theosophical Society. And one of the major objective of Theosophical Society was to study the ancient religion. Okay. Now what happened? So for the first time, MK Gandhi was introduced to Bhagavad Gita in London. Now there was one theosophist, and this theosophist became a very good friend of MK Gandhi. Again, this incident I have read in his book, what we say, My Experiments with Truth. So it said that I met one of the theosophists, means MK Gandhi met one of the theosophists, and that theosophist was reading a particular book named as A Song Celestial. I repeat, a book named as Song Celestial. And basically, it is said that this book was a translation of Bhagavad Gita, which was written by Sir Edwin Arnold. Now, this theosophist friend asked him about Bhagavad Gita, and MK Gandhi said that I felt so ashamed that being an Indian, I have not read Bhagavad Gita either in Sanskrit or in Gujarati. And the people who are although Christians but still are aware about the ancient religions of India and of the world. So they are so keen to acquire the knowledge basically. He developed this fervor within himself that we should acquire continuous knowledge. So MK Gandhi for the first time was introduced to Bhagavad Gita in London. And along with his theosophical friend, basically he read the entire verses of Bhagavad Gita. When you will read what we say, My Experiments with Truth, you'll come to know that there are many incidences being mentioned in My Experiments with Truth. And he has also quoted certain verses of Bhagavad Gita in that book, basically. So here he came up with many theosophists who criticized about industrialism as well. Now, why did he criticize industrialism? Let's pay attention towards it. At this time in the Europe, industrialism was on vogue, and one of the most important policy on which industrialism works is mercantilism. Mercantilism is means minimum investment and maximum profit. So this maximum profit is accrued by the industrialist. Now, usually at that time, in the entire region of London and Europe, there were three categories of people. Pay attention properly so that your doubts are clear. There were three types of people. One was bourgeois, other was proletariat, and the third was industrialist, or the third was basically a powerful person. Now, industrialist had money and industrialist had power. Bourgeois had the money, but he did not had the power. And proletariat class, they were the downtrodden section of the society. They were the neglected section of the society. They neither had the power nor they had the money. So what happened basically? These industrialists and later on even bourgeois started exploiting these people in the name of industrialization. Now many factories were started in the region of London, which is also referred as industrial revolution in short. We are going to study about what we say in this in detail in the world history basically. So although there was development of lot many factories, there was development of industries in England, but there was certain section of the society whose condition was getting deplorable day by day. Like these people had to continuously work in the factories for 10 to 12 hours. There was no holidays even on the Sunday. Even children had to work for minimum 7 to 9 hours. Women had to work for 8 to 10 hours. There were no extra allowances being paid. They were living in the slum basically. And you can understand the conditions that are prevalent in the region of slum. So basically, it is said that they were living in unhygienic condition. There were crime was rampant in the slum. Now, what happened basically? Industrialization had given a new face to the world. Now, basically, production, what we say, entities have been changed completely. There was more production. Now, handloom has been replaced by power loom. These developments are there in science and technology. But what happened? Industrialization has also created a divide in the society. A certain section of the society has a lot, and the other section of the society is completely neglected. So, all these discussions were conducted by M.K. Gandhi with the theosophist. So, he also criticized the flip side of the industrialism. Now, basically, it is said that he was introduced to Bhagavad Gita in London and when he was in second year of his law. Now, after completing his law degree, he got enrolled in the High Court of London and he was started working as an advocate, started working as a barrister in the Bar Council of London. Now, one fine day, basically, it is said that Gandhi basically got an offer from a Indian businessman who was residing in South Africa. His name was Dada Abdullah, and he had invited him to join him for his company as a legal advisor. Now, MK Gandhi had two options basically, that either he will work as a lawyer in London or he will work as a legal advisor to Dada Abdullah or Sheikh Abdullah in South Africa. So he chose the second option. Now he moved on to South Africa. He was given the first class railway compartment ticket by what we say Dada Abdullah. But when he reached South Africa at a Pietermaritzburg station, he was thrown out of the first class railway compartment. And when he was thrown out of the first class railway compartment, he told the entire issue to Dada Abdullah. And when he told the entire issue to Dada Abdullah, he came to know about three important facts. He came to know about three important things. And Dada Abdullah said that basically the condition of Indians and Asians in South Africa was very derogatory. And they were called by derogatory name of coolies. And there were three types of Asians and Indians living in South Africa. First are indentured laborer. Second are ex-indentured laborer. And then come Memon Muslim. Now let us understand this. There were certain basically laborers who were taken from various parts of India, various parts of Asia, and they were taken to sugar plantation fields in South Africa. Now they were taken to South Africa on contract basis, and very little money was paid to them. They were living in a highly derogatory condition. They hardly had any rights. And once their contract was over, they were sent back to their own country. This is indentured laborer. Then comes ex-indentured laborer. Now, who were ex-indentured laborer? These were the laborers basically who came from different parts of India and Asia to South Africa for working in the sugar plantations or in the plantation field. But when their contract was over, they did not went back to their country. They stayed in South Africa itself because they believed that we are going to be exploited in South Africa, we are going to be exploited in India, but at least in South Africa, we have employment opportunities here. So these people decided to stay back in South Africa even after their contract was over. And then comes Mem and Muslim, who are usually the merchants, who are usually the businessmen who are conducting their business activities in what we say South Africa. Now it is said that after deeply studying the racial discrimination that was practiced against the Asians and the Indians living there, MK Gandhi decided to work for their cause. Like there were certain rules that the Asians and the Indians cannot use the footpath that was used by Englishmen. They cannot be outdoors after 9 p.m. basically. For example, even if I am a person, if I am an Indian who is living in South Africa at that time, and I have to go to buy a bread from the nearby shop, I cannot go after 8 p.m. Even if I am going after 8 p.m. in case of emergency, I have to carry a passport size of document along with me to reveal my identity. Such was the condition of Indians and the Asians that were living in South Africa. And now MK Gandhi decided to fight for their cause. And for this, MK Gandhi started a newspaper called as Indian Opinion in South Africa, and he started Natal Indian Congress. And the president of the Natal Indian Congress was Dada Abdullah or Sheikh Abdullah. And now he started writing petitions. He started passing resolutions. He started writing letters to what we say authorities of Britain in South Africa, as well as to the British Parliament. So the people, so the ministers in the British Parliament could come to know about the plight of the people who are living in South Africa, about the plight of the people, about the plight of the Indians that are living in South Africa. He started writing letters and he started heading an organization called as Natal Indian Congress. Now, he adopted a new method basically to what we say MK Gandhi in South Africa for the first time coined the term satyagraha. Please pay attention properly. Now, MK Gandhi, pay attention properly. MK Gandhi was very much influenced by the thinking of Thoreau, Emerson, and Tolstoy. Like he was very much what we say influenced by a Russian philosopher whose name was Leo Tolstoy. Now, this Russian philosopher Tolstoy had written a book called as Kingdom of God Lies Within You. I repeat, he had written a book called as Kingdom of God Lies Within You. And in this basically book, he has completely elaborated the philosophy of non-violence, what we say, the prospects of non-violence. And MK Gandhi was very much influenced by the teachings, the principles, and the philosophy of Leo Tolstoy. And for the first time, MK Gandhi coined the term satyagraha in South Africa. Now, if you try to break the etymology, satyagraha, sat agraha. Sat means truth. Agraha means voluntary. I'll give you a very simple example. I have given this example when I was teaching Buddhism in ancient India and when I have taught Jainism in ancient India. Truth is always voluntary in nature. Nobody can force us to speak the truth. It comes from within. Getting the points clear? It is a polite insistence to speak the truth. And who is going to insist us? We are going to insist ourselves. Now it is said that when will the truth come out? It is a bit philosophical, but this has been mentioned by MK Gandhi in his book. When will the truth come out? When people are going to suppress their ego. Isn't that so? Truth is a virtue. Ego is a vice. What is virtue? A good quality, that is something that is good for us as well as for the society. And what is vice? Something that is bad for us as well as for the society. I'll give you a small example. Helping others is a virtue. Why? Because helping others is a good quality. But greediness is a bad quality. Getting the points? It is a vice. Similarly, when the person is able to control the vices within him, when the one major aspect basically that restricts us from speaking the truth is ego. And one of the most important vices that is refraining us from all the virtues is ego. And once a person control the vice of ego, automatically he will speak the truth. Isn't that so? So MK Gandhi basically inspired the people to speak the truth. And he experimented with the theory of satyagraha for the first time in South Africa to protect the rights of Asians living there, to protect the rights of Indians living there. And satyagraha basically means holding on to the truth irrespective of the situation. Like there might be many situations in life, like for example, you are aspiring to become an IAS officer, you are aspiring to become an IPS officer. You might face many situations in life where you might face a lot of political pressures. But in that case, you need to be integrated. You need to maintain integrity and honesty. Isn't that so? Irrespective of the situations that are against you, you should be intact on your decision. So this is what is the role of a satyagrahi. Hold on to the truth irrespective of the situation. And there are various ways of what we say conducting satyagraha. Like strike is a way of conducting satyagraha. Hartal is a way of conducting satyagraha. Non-cooperation means not cooperating with the government is a what we say type of a satyagraha. Civil disobedience. Civil disobedience basically means breaking the laws which are unjust. Getting the points clear? Breaking the laws which are unjust, which laws are not justified, and these laws are against the human rights. So as these laws are against the human rights, you can break these laws. This is called as civil disobedience movement. And civil disobedience is also a one kind of satyagraha. But civil disobedience should be last resort. It should not be adopted first. When you have tried everything as a part of satyagraha, but if it is not working, one can go for civil disobedience. So MK Gandhi basically he experimented with the satyagraha in South Africa for the first time. And now MK Gandhi launched satyagraha against registration certificate. As I have told you, I have just given you a small example. Suppose I am an Indian who is living in South Africa. I have to buy a bread from a nearby shop. Every time I have to show the registration certificate to reveal my identity. Every time. And this should have my fingerprints. Getting the points clear? Now, basically, MK Gandhi said that this was a very derogatory law because I am staying in South Africa for years now, and the law should be same for everyone. Everyone should be same in the eye of the law. But here they are trying to racially segregate the Indians and the other people living in the South Africa. So they were following the practice of racial discrimination. So here MK Gandhi decided that nobody is going to show basically registration certificate. And he said that basically he formed Passive Resistance Association in South Africa. And he said that we are not going to cooperate with the government. We will reveal our identity, but not every time. And this was done by openly burning the registration certificate. Getting the points clear? And in this case, it is said that even, for example, I'm giving you a small example. Suppose I'm living in a particular district of Maharashtra. Now, if I have to move to other district of Maharashtra, I have complete freedom for that. Isn't that so? But at that time, when a person was moving from one particular district in South Africa to other district in South Africa, he had to pay certain sort of tax, and all sorts of restrictions were what we say imposed on that person. Gandhi again campaigned for the rights of such people, the rights of such Indians and Asians in South Africa, and he was jailed for that. And many satyagrahi also started supporting MK Gandhi in South Africa for his cause. Now it is said that many satyagrahis were in the jail. Please listen to me very carefully. Okay. Now at that time, many satyagrahis were in the jail. Now what will their family do now? So what did Gandhi do? As MK Gandhi was very inspired by Leo Tolstoy, he started a what we say a farm, basically an ashram. In very simple words, he started an ashram which is very close to Johannesburg. It is approximately 20 to 30 kilometers from Johannesburg in South Africa. Okay, and basically this ashram was called as Tolstoy Farm, and this ashram was started by one of the associates of MK Gandhi, whose name was Herman Kallenbach. And basically, this ashram provided relief to the families of satyagrahis who were in either in the jail or basically who were working along with MK Gandhi for sustaining a movement in South Africa. Okay, so basically, this Tolstoy farm name was given by Herman Kallenbach, and I've told you how MK Gandhi was influenced by the philosophy of Leo Tolstoy, because he was very much influenced by a book, that is Kingdom of God Lies Within Us. Okay, now Gandhi started a campaign against invalidation of Indian marriages. Now listen to me very carefully. In South Africa, a law was passed. As per this law, any marriage that is done without Christian rites and rituals would not be considered as a marriage. And secondly, the children born out of this marriage are illegitimate. So basically, this was against the dignity of Indian women. And now MK Gandhi started a rampant movement in South Africa against this. He also informed his political guru in India, that is Gopal Krishna Gokhale, about this law which was going on in South Africa. In fact, Gopal Krishna Gokhale started a movement in India against the law that was made in South Africa, because this was against the dignity of our women, basically. And that is why MK Gandhi started a rampant movement in South Africa against this law. In fact, Gopal Krishna Gokhale toured the entire country and sensitized about the condition of Indian, what we say, laborers that were living abroad. The law that was passed in South Africa. And here in India, Lord Hardinge was the viceroy. Gopal Krishna Gokhale met Lord Hardinge and said about this derogatory law. In fact, although being a Britisher, Lord Hardinge severely criticized the law that was made in South Africa. And then basically, after a series of negotiations, basically, a committee was formed. Various members were there in the committee like MK Gandhi, Lord Hardinge, CF Andrews, General Smuts. And after that, basically, uh, this law was repealed. So all these are due to the activity of Gandhi in South Africa. Now, on a trip back to India in 1909, MK Gandhi wrote a book called as Hind Swaraj. And when he was coming on a ship, the name of the ship was Kildonan Castle. And MK Gandhi wrote a book called as Hind Swaraj on a ship called as Kildonan Castle. And basically, he told about his experiences in that book. Like, he was also aware about the politics that was going on in India. We have previously discussed about the moderates. We have discussed about the extremists. So MK Gandhi was very much aware about the technique, okay, of what all things was going on in India, basically. So now he wrote a book called as Hind Swaraj. And now he had demonstrated a new style of politics in South Africa. And this style of politics was quite successful, as well as people had accepted it. And secondly, he had got a worldwide fame for this politics that he had done. Getting the points clear? Yes, my friends. Did you understand the topic? Please let me know. Good evening, Satya. See, Sarfaraz. See, it is said that MK Gandhi was equivalent to a saint. Getting the points clear? And usually, if you see the rishis and the saints at that time, they usually do not have an upper part of the cloth. They have the dhoti, basically. Isn't that so? So people said MK Gandhi as a saint, basically. They considered him as a saint. Okay? So are the points clear, guys? Okay. Now let us understand Gandhian view on South African experience. Okay, now let us understand this. Initially, when the Congress was formed in 1885, okay, initially when the Congress was formed in 1885, basically at Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College, they had been divided into two ideologies. One was moderates and the other was extremist. Now, moderates lacked faith initially in the masses. They confined their activities to a particular elite class. But with the passage of time, extremists started showing faith in the masses. And this has been exemplified in the Swadeshi movement. Isn't that so? Like in Swadeshi movement, there was participation of basically artisan, women. There was participation of various sections of the society. So extremists started showing faith basically in the capacity of the masses. Okay. Similarly, MK Gandhi, when he reached in South Africa, he was completely alien to the condition of South Africa. He was completely new to South Africa and the people in the South Africa. But still, he provided the leadership base to the people in South Africa. He said this in his book that whatever happened in South Africa, it wasn't me. It was the support of the people that got them the independence, basically, that got them back their rights, basically. So he had the faith in the capacity of masses to participate and sacrifice. Now, as I've told you, there were people belonging to different classes, people of different religion, people of different caste who were exploited basically by the Englishmen in South Africa. But when MK Gandhi gave a united call for a satyagraha, everyone became a participant in the movement that was started by MK Gandhi. So, what does this simply exemplify? People have given up all their prejudices about the religion, caste, class, subcaste, and so on, and fought against the common enemy. Many a times during the Satyagraha movement, MK Gandhi had to take harsh decision. Basically, like one of the decision I had told you that everyone had to carry a passport size of a document. Everybody who was living in South Africa had to carry a registration certificate. Now, MK Gandhi started a movement in which all the registration certificates were burnt. Isn't that so? And after that, the government came up heavily on the satyagrahi. So, what does Gandhi says here? Gandhi simply says here, basically, that a leader needs to take unpopular decisions sometime, but he needs to have the support of the people and he need to make the people understand about that decision. And now MK Gandhi evolved a new style of politics, a new style of leadership, which was completely based on non-violence. Okay, so this was one of the way of Gandhi in South Africa. Then what was the technique of satyagraha? The technique of satyagraha was completely based on truth and non-violence. And as I've told you, satyagraha, nobody can force you to speak the truth. Truth is always voluntary in nature. It should come from within. And when one controls all the vices within him, truth will automatically come. And secondly, one should maintain complete non-violence. And my friends, non-violence again similar to the non-violence that I have explained in Buddhism and Jainism. Now there are three types of violence: violence in thoughts, violence in words, and violence in deed. Continuously thinking ill will about others, continuously blaming others, that is again a sort of violence. And basically, you are destroying yourself. Isn't that so? For example, if you have a small fight with someone, now continuously you will develop a feeling of revenge. What will happen? You are destroying your own health. You are destroying your own mental formation, but you are not hampering that person. So, who is the ultimate victim of that? You. So, thinking ill will about others is again a sort of a violence. Secondly, violence in words. Speaking in a very slang language to others, speaking in abusive manners to others is also a sort of violence. And basically, fighting with others, basically physical violence, is also a sort of violence. So MK Gandhi talks about all forms of non-violence that should be maintained. Then Satyagrahi. Satyagrahi should always, basically, he should not submit to anything, and he should always be truthful, and he should be completely fearless. Why he should be fearless? Because person who has spoken lie, person who has spoken lie, person who is following the wrong path, he is afraid of a particular thing. But if you are fighting for your own right, if you are speaking about your own liberties, if you are speaking the truth, there is no need of being afraid. So Satyagrahi should always be fearless. Second, then the other important aspect, even basically like Britishers were continuously suppressing the movement in India. But what did MK Gandhi say? Even though Britishers are violent towards us, we shouldn't be violent in retaliation. In fact, basically, we shouldn't have any evil against the evildoer. Getting the points clear? For example, if someone has done bad towards you, okay, that person is not bad. That person can get transformed. That situation is bad. That act is bad. So, this is what MK Gandhi is trying to explain. MK Gandhi is saying that even if people have done something wrong against you, if someone has done evil against you, and if you are a satyagrahi, if you are following the path of truth and following the path of what we say basically, if you are following the path of truth, what will happen basically? So basically, you know, need not afraid about that. And if somebody has done wrong to you, so it depends upon the circumstances. There might be situation that even though there might be a very good friend of yours, okay, so he might have said you something, he might have said you something which might be derogatory or which you might not like. So it depends upon the circumstances. That act was bad, not that person. So one should not hate the evildoer. This is what basically MK Gandhi is trying to say. And basically, satyagraha requires lots of patience, because when there are all sorts of criticisms against you, when there are all sorts of act of violence being done against you, okay, there is necessity of maintaining patience. So satyagrahi is basically for the people who have patience and is not for the weak and cowards. So this is what MK Gandhi has said about satyagraha. Yes, my friends, did you understand till here? Yes, guys, please let me know. Did you understand till here? See, Dipesh, we are going to study about initially non-cooperation movement, then we'll study civil disobedience movement, and then we'll study Quit India movement. Now, when we'll reach till Quit India movement, the situation of India in the 2 decades have changed drastically. And there are change in the circumstances due to the World War II. So there were spurts of violence during the Quit India movement as well. That we are going to see in detail. Okay, Dipesh? Okay, RJ. Now, let's talk about Gandhi when he came back in India. Now, Gandhi returned to India in 1915. Okay. Now, it is, yes. So, what is celebrated in India? Yes, my friend. Anybody, please, can anybody say me when Gandhi came back to India in 1915? This is celebrated even today in India. What it is celebrated? Yes, please. Yes, guys. You usually study this in the current affairs. When Gandhi came back to India, okay, it is celebrated as Pravasi Bharatiya Divas even today. Yes, very good, Dipesh. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Very good, Chipra. Yes. So let's concentrate upon Gandhi when he came back in India. Now, Gandhi came to India in 1915, finally after his South African experiment. But when he came in India, there was a movement that was going on in India in the form of Home Rule League movement. Now, initially, MK Gandhi did not become a part of politics in India because he had a mentor in the form of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. And GK Gokhale, he told him that first of all, you tour the entire India. After touring the entire India, understand the condition of India, understand the plight of India, try to understand the policies of the government that are going on in India, and then enter into the politics. So initially, MK Gandhi did not become the part of the Congress. He did not become the part of any political activity that was going on in India. But initially, he criticized the activities of Home Rule League. We have studied in detail about the Home Rule League movement that was started by Annie Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilakji. So MK Gandhi meant to say that when Britishers were involved in the war, there is no point in starting the Home Rule League movement. Now, basically, there are few criticism about it. Now, few nationalists believe that when Britishers are involved in the war, the time is ripe now that we can start a movement in India because they are fully concentrated in the war. And basically, when we will start a movement in India, basically, what will happen? Britishers will be forced to give independence to India. This was felt by few nationalists. But the other nationalists felt that, and specifically MK Gandhi felt that when Britishers were involved in the war, basically, they won't pay any attention to India. And already the war had shifted to their side. Already, basically, they were winning the war. And still, they were, practicing colonialism. They were practicing white racism. So, basically, the time is not right to start Home Rule League movement in India, as per MK Gandhi. So initially, he was not participant in any of the political movements in India. But later on, he experimented with his first satyagraha in India in the form of Champaran Satyagraha. I have discussed about Champaran Satyagraha in detail, but still within few seconds, I'll talk about Champaran Satyagraha. Now, Champaran is a district in the northern part of Bihar. Now, in the name of commercialization of agriculture. Now, basically, what is commercialization of agriculture? There are two types of agriculture: subsistence agriculture and commercialized agriculture. Suppose I'm a farmer and I'm practicing subsistence agriculture. I will produce only those crops which are important for sustaining my and my family's livelihood. But if I am a farmer who is practicing commercialized agriculture, I will produce those crops which are high in demand in the national as well as in the international market, like tobacco, cotton, opium, poppy, jute, sugarcane, indigo. All these are basically commercial crops. So basically, in Champaran, the peasants were forced to cultivate indigo under one system, and that system is called as Teen Kathia system. Now, what is Teen Kathia system? A peasant is forced to cultivate indigo compulsorily on 3 by 20th part of his land. For example, if I am a farmer, I have a 20 acres of land. Compulsorily, I have to cultivate indigo on 3 acres of land. So this system is called as Teen Kathia system. Now there was a local farmer whose name was Rajkumar Shukla. Rajkumar Shukla invited MK Gandhi to Champaran basically. And basically at that time, the district collector of Champaran was Hickok. He did not allow initially MK Gandhi to enter into Champaran because by now MK Gandhi had become a very famous personality throughout the world after his South African experiment. So when MK Gandhi would arrive in Champaran, there might be a rampant movement in the region of Champaran. Initially he did not allow, but later he was allowed to come in the Champaran, and MK Gandhi came up with many other people like Dr. Rajendra Prasad, JB Kriplani, Mahadev Desai. All these people came along with MK Gandhi to Champaran. And when MK Gandhi came here, a Champaran Agrarian Committee was created and Teen Kathia system was completely abolished. So this is all about Champaran Satyagraha, which I had discussed previously. Did you get the points clear, my friends, about Champaran Satyagraha? Please let me know. Very good, Satya. You are from Champaran, basically in Bihar. Very good. Bapu Dham Motihari. Okay. Yes, guys. Did you get Champaran Satyagraha? Okay. Now let's talk about Ahmedabad meal strike in short. Now, Ahmedabad was the second largest city of the Bombay Presidency. And the region of Bombay Presidency, right from the start, was known for cultivation of cotton. Like basically in the region of Deccan, you will find black soil. And black soil is good for cultivation of cotton and sugarcane. So the region of Surat, Bombay, Ahmedabad, these were known for cultivation of cotton since the ancient times. So basically it is said that Ahmedabad was a very growing city at that time. And during Swadeshi movement, there was mushrooming of many textile mill in the region of Gujarat. Isn't that so? We have seen this completely in detail in Swadeshi movement. So there was mushrooming of textile mill in the region of Gujarat basically, and specifically in the region of Ahmedabad. Now what happened? During the Ahmedabad mill strike, there was a dispute between the mill owner and the worker. Now workers basically wanted 50% wage hike and plague bonus. Okay. Initially there was 50% wage hike. Later it was 35% wage hike. Okay. But basically, and they, apart from the wage hike, they wanted extra bonus. Getting the points clear? And meal owners denied giving any bonus. Meal owners denied the withdrawal of, means basically they did not wanted to give any bonus to the worker. Now basically one of the lady, that is Ansuya Ben Sarabai, and her brother Ambalal Sarabai invited MK Gandhi to resolve the conflict. MK Gandhi completely analyzed the situation. MK Gandhi completely studied the situation. Now he was being called up by basically Ansuya Ben Sarabai, and she was leading the industrialist basically. And she believed that MK Gandhi would basically support the cause of industrialist. But what happened here? After completely analyzing the situation, MK Gandhi started his hunger strike against the industrialist, and he supported the cause of workers in Ahmedabad. And basically, the strike continued for 21 days. Initially, they agreed that we are going to give you 20% wage hike. But when there was a rampant hunger strike going on in entire cotton mills in the region of Ahmedabad, finally the industrialists accepted 35% wage hike. So, Ahmedabad meal strike is very important in the course of modern India. Why? Because it was first hunger strike of MK Gandhi in India. So this is all about Ahmedabad meal strike. We have discussed about Kheda Satyagraha, but still I'll discuss about it. Now, there was a famine that is called as Chalisa famine in Gujarat. The name itself suggests Chalisa. It had affected 40 regions or 40 villages in the around the region of Gujarat. Now, basically, rather than what we say supporting the farmer, rather than remitting their revenue, rather than suspension of land revenue, Britishers imposed more taxes on the people of Kheda. Now, a movement was launched by basically Vallabhbhai Patel to support the cause of the peasants here. And that was no revenue campaign. Nobody is going to pay any sort of revenue. And this was supported by MK Gandhi. MK Gandhi provided the spiritual fervor to the Kheda Satyagraha in Gujarat. And finally, Britishers came up with new rule: suspension of land revenue temporarily. On temporary basis, no land revenue would be collected. Secondly, anybody whose yield is 1 by 4th of the normal produce. In very simple words, suppose I am a farmer. I produce usually, in normal times, I produce 100 quintals of wheat. But due to the situation of famine, now I am only able to produce 20 quintal. Getting the points clear? So it is less than 25%. In that case, I would be entitled for remission. Britishers are going to help me out here. Getting the points clear? So this was done at Kheda Satyagraha. So MK Gandhi also experimented with Kheda Satyagraha. He was also the part of Bardoli Satyagraha, which we are going to see further. Yes, my friends, did you understand basically emergence of MK Gandhi in India? Are the points clear? Please let me know. Yes, Ambalal, the friend of Gandhiji. Okay. So let's quickly move on to the other topic, that is Rowlatt Act and Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre. Okay. Now, what is Rowlatt Act all about? Now, Rowlatt Act was passed by Sir Sidney Rowlatt, and Sir Sidney Rowlatt was a British judge. Now, listen to me very carefully. Now, from 1914 to 1919, there were various incidents that took place in India. And one of the incident was basically during the Lucknow session. During Lucknow session, we saw a Lucknow Pact. What happened there basically? Here, the Congress and the Muslim League decided to work together. Then at Lucknow session, one more dynamic thing occurred. And that was the Congress, which had died in 1907, took rebirth in 1916. In very simple words, the Congress, which had split up in the Surat session of 1907, was merged together again in 1916. So, what happened basically? There was again a rise of nationalist fervor in the country. Now, apart from the moderates and apart from the extremists, there were other aspects, there were other entities who were also involved basically in the national movement. And these entities are referred as revolutionaries, Krantikari, like Chandrasekhar Azad, Ram Prasad Bismil, Bhagat Singh, then Ajit Singh, Ashfaqullah Khan, Durga Bhabi. All these are basically the revolutionaries. And revolutionaries, they believed in a very simple concept. And that simple concept was eye for an eye. In very simple words, I'll say you eye for an eye. We have initially, like they had initially criticized the practices of moderates. They had criticized the practices of extremists because they believed that neither the moderates nor the extremists were successful in gaining anything fruitful for the country. Like all the activities of the moderates were heavily criticized by the revolutionary. Like basically they said that what have extremists done till so far? They said extremists have done nothing. Now, whenever a movement is going on in the country, we cannot always maintain non-violence as per revolutionary. Now, I'll give you a very small example. For example, MK Gandhi started a movement called as non-cooperation movement in India. Now, for initially 2.5 years, the movement was very successful until one incident happened, and that incident was called as Chori Chora incident. Now, in this incident, 22 policemen were killed. I'm giving you an example so that you can understand. 22 policemen were killed. Now, MK Gandhi immediately called off the entire movement. Now, many nationalists were unhappy with this step that was taken by MK Gandhi. Because MK Gandhi completely believed in the principles of non-violence. But here, there were certain incidences of violence. So, this section, revolutionaries believed that when 22 policemen were killed, MK Gandhi took the entire movement back. But when non-cooperation movement was going on in the entire country, more than 10,000 people were killed by the Britishers. More than 80,000 people were imprisoned by the Britishers. So till when are we going to negotiate with Britishers? Till when we are going for prayer, petition and resolution? We need to go beyond the constitutional limit. We need to speak in their own language. So from 1915 onward, there was a rise of basically revolutionary activities in India. Like basically there were attack on what we say non-famous personalities. Like there was attack on certain district magistrate. There was attack on deputy superintendent of police. There was attack on judges. Then basically trains were blown, railway lines were cut, so what we say secret radio stations were being run so that there could be connection between the various what we say revolutionary activities were not only going in India, Various revolutionary activities were going abroad as well, like San Francisco, Germany, Paris. I'll give you a very small example. Madam Kama, she was involved in training the revolutionaries. She is referred as mother of the revolutionaries. Like various pistols were imported from the other countries basically. Okay, like you might have seen books. Like in between the books, the pages were cut in the shape of a pistol, and pistol was kept up in the books basically. So all these activities were rampant in the country by now. Now, what happened basically? Sir Sidney Rowlatt passed a very derogatory act, and this bill was what we say opposed by each and every member of the Imperial Legislative Council, each and every Indian of the Imperial Legislative Council. What is that bill basically, or that act? It is basically in the name, if Britishers feel that if any person is involved in any seditious activity, that is, who is working against the state, without any trial, he can be arrested. If just like basically, it is not like if they have a proof or evidence about that. Even if they feel that he is involved in any sorts of terrorist activities, or even if they feel that he can disturb the peace and harmony, then and then immediately that person can be arrested. That person can be detained up to 2 years. Detained basically up to 2 years means he will be kept in the jail, but he cannot be produced in the court. Getting the points clear? A criminal can, like it is the what we say right of a person to be produced before the court within 24 hours of the arrest. Isn't that so? If it is not done so, it is affecting the writ of habeas corpus. So basically, 2 years the people were kept in the jail without any evidence. Getting the points clear? Now, even no petition can be filed against this arrest. Even if he's released after 2 years, basically he cannot file a petition in the court that on what terms and condition, on what charges I was being arrested and kept in the jail for 2 years without any trial. So this cannot be done basically. So what happened basically, people criticize, and it also restricted the press a lot. So it was heavily criticized by every section of the Indian nationalist. It was heavily criticized by all the nationalist rank like Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Madan Mohan Malviya, Mazhar ul Haq. They completely resigned from the Imperial Legislative Council. They said that we are the part of Imperial Legislative Council. You are framing the rules and regulation, laws, policies for India, and you are not listening to the Indians. So what is the use of we being the part of the Imperial Legislative Council? If Britishers are ready to pass the law according to their whims and fancies, if they're ready to pass the law according to their own will, why are we being the part of Imperial Legislative Council? So there is no point of we being a participant in the Imperial Legislative. So Madan Mohan Malviya ji, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and Mazhar ul Haq, they resigned from the Imperial Legislative Council against this derogatory law. And this was called as Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. Now, against this law, MK Gandhi started a nationwide hartal on 6th April and said that strike and hartal should be conducted throughout the entire India against this derogatory law of Rowlatt Act. Getting the points clear? So basically it is said that when MK Gandhi gave a nationwide call against the Rowlatt Act, there were spurt of violences in the region of Punjab. And immediately when there was a violence in the region of Punjab, martial law was imposed. Now as per martial law, more than 4 people cannot meet at a particular place. Okay? More than 4 people cannot meet at a particular place. Otherwise, it would be a violation of the law that will be made by the government. So basically, 2 leaders came in the nationwide hartal in the region of Punjab. One was Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlaw in Punjab. I repeat, Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlaw. And now they were propagating the hartal. They were campaigning against the policies of the Britishers and Rowlatt Act in the region of Amritsar. And immediately they were arrested in Amritsar. In fact, MK Gandhi was arrested in Delhi. And MK Gandhi formed Satyagraha Sabha against the Rowlatt Act. Yes, my friends, did you understand the Rowlatt Act? Please let me know. Yes, Satya, almost similar to dictatorship. Britishers are imposing their own rules and regulation without any sort of concern towards Indians basically. So it was a complete dictatorship. Okay. Yes. Aisha, you have a question. Why it is called as Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act? As I have told you basically, at this point of time, there was rampant rise of revolutionaries in India, Krantikari in India. So what happened basically to control and curb the activities of Krantikari like Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Ajit Singh, Durga Babi, Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah Khan, basically, because these revolutionaries were involved in various activities. Like they were involved in murder of various renowned personalities like district collector, deputy superintendent of the police, judges, and so on. So to suppress their activities, Britishers came up with this act because they believed that it will create a anarchy. Anarchy means lawlessness. If the revolutionaries are completely involved in such sort of activities, there would be no law and order in the country. So they came up with this act, which is called as Anarchical and Revolutionary Crime Act. Anarchy means state of lawlessness. Hope so, Aisha, I have answered your question. Yes, Sarfaraz, Sandhya, Kal, Yugantar. There would be a separate section, there would be a separate chapter session on all the revolutionary, my friends. Two sessions I'm going to just conduct on revolutionary. We are going to discuss all sorts of murders, major murders. We are going to discuss about basically the role played by Bhagat Singh ji. Like I'm a huge fan of Bhagat Singh. So basically, role played by Bhagat Singh ji, Chandrasekhar Azad, basically. So we are going to study all these things in detail. We are going to have a separate chapter on that, guys. Okay? Don't worry about we are going to study that in detail. Yes, two sessions, Kajal. I'm going to take two sessions separately on the revolutionary. Okay? So let's get started with another important incident in India that is referred as Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre. Yes, Harmeet, for upcoming Sunday's test, I will be telling you the topics basically on Wednesday because I'll decide basically what topics that I can cover till Saturday. So I'll tell the topics basically on Wednesday. Okay. Okay. Now let's start about Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre. Now we have read about Maharaja Ranjit Singh. You remember Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Treaty of Amritsar? So basically, they said that there was a courtier, there was a darbari in the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh whose name was Pandit Jalla. And Pandit Jalla had constructed a park near Amritsar which is called as what we say Jallianwala. Why it is called as Jallianwala Bagh? Because it was constructed by Pandit Jalla. That is why it is called as Jallianwala Bagh. Now, what happened basically? I have just discussed about the Rowlatt Act. Now, MK Gandhi on 6th April decided to go for a nationwide hartal against the Rowlatt Act. Now, there were two leaders in Punjab, that is Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlo. Now, they both started the movement in the Punjab on 8th April 1990. And immediately a brutal action was taken against them by the Britishers. As I've told you previously, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlo and Dr. Satyapal, who were running on the hartal, who were sensitizing the masses about the Gandhian style of politics, were arrested in Amritsar. And MK Gandhi was arrested in Delhi. Now, on 13th April, there was a Baisakhi. Now, people basically got gathered in the Jallianwala Bagh. Approximately 15 to 20,000 people gathered in Jallianwala Bagh. Now, they gathered for two purposes. First of all, to celebrate the Baisakhi festival, And secondly, they were going for a peaceful protest against the arrest of the two important leaders from Punjab, that is Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlo. My friends, I have used the word peaceful protest. They had gathered for peaceful protest. Now, Jallianwallah Bagh had a very narrow entry gate and a very narrow exit gate. There were majorly two gates at that time, a narrow entry gate and a narrow exit gate. Two people at a time can enter and two people at a time can exit. And around 15 to 20,000 people had gathered to peacefully protest against the arrest of their leaders, Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlo. Now, what happened basically? It was now these people basically these were innocent people, and as I've told you in Rowlatt Act, when there were spurt of violences, martial law was imposed in Punjab, and as per martial law, not more than 4 persons can gather at a particular place, can assemble at a particular place, and these innocent people were highly unaware about this, and more than 15,000 people had gathered in Jallianwallah Bagh. Now, General Dyer came to know about this. And immediately, General Dyer surrounded the entire Jallianwallah Bagh from the four sides. And now, rather than going for an inquiry, rather than asking the people that why have you gathered here, like as I have used the word, it was a peaceful protest against the arrest of their leaders. Rather than asking them, rather than basically speaking with them, without knowing the actual cause, immediately they started firing on the unarmed crowd. The people were highly unarmed. They did not had any sort of weapons with them. And firing was continued till very precisely 17 minutes. Until and unless basically entire ammunition was over. Getting the points clear? Until and unless entire ammunition was over, basically the firing was kept on. You can believe it, firing continued till 15 minutes as though a battle was going on, as though a war was going on the borders basically. Such a firing was conducted by General Dyer on the innocent crowd. I have mentioned here 2,000 people. It is not 2,000, it is 20,000. Now, it is said in certain books that he kept on firing till the entire ammunition was over. And as per government records, 376 people were killed, approximately 400. But unofficially, more than thousands of people were killed in this massacre. And now, children, women, older people, everyone was killed here. Like, I will share an experience. I'll tell you one thing that I have read basically. There was a child whose name was Udham Singh. Basically, his entire family got killed here, and he took the revenge from General Dyer few years later. He killed General Dyer. Basically, this small boy, later, few years later, he became a revolutionary. He became a Krantikari and killed General Dyer at Caxton Hall in London, basically. But basically, such a cruel step was taken by the Britishers. What was the reaction here? Entire nation was stunned. The people did not knew such a brutal step would be taken by the Britishers, because peaceful protest is the right of everyone. As I've said you, people had gathered. Although people were innocent, they did not knew about the martial law. But directly you cannot start what we say firing of the people without knowing the cause for gathering. It was a what we say stunning situation for entire country. Our nationalist ranks like MK Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, Nehru has also been entered into the politics now, Motilal Nehru. Everyone was basically speechless. They did not understand what to do now basically. Basically, now again Punjab was put under martial law, and immediately Gandhi withdrew the hartal that was started. And he said that it is a mistake of Himalayan magnitude. I have committed a very big blunder. Why it is called as mistake of Himalayan magnitude? Himalaya are very tall hills. So basically, I have made such a huge mistake by starting a hartal because I did not knew that Britishers are so brutal and so cruel against the Indians. Rabindranath Tagore immediately renounced his knighthood And MK Gandhi gave up his Kesare Hind gold medal that was given to him basically for his service in South Africa. And now a committee was created called as Hunter Committee. Mind my words, my friends, it is Hunter Committee, not Hunter Commission. Hunter Commission is related to educational reforms in India, and this is Hunter Committee. Now, in this committee, basically there were four British and there were three Indian members. I have mentioned in the box the four British and the three Indian members, basically. And along with the Hunter Committee, a parallel committee was created by the Congress, and they conducted their own inquiry. Congress themselves conducted their own inquiry, and Hunter committed itself, what we say, conducted its own inquiry. And finally, Congress heavily criticized the act that was done on the people here. Now, Hunter Committee, now it is said that immediately Britishers had to take a step. Immediately, General Dyer had to go back to Britain because people were very angry by now. Okay, now what happened basically, people were very angry and any action could be taken against General Dyer. So immediately General Dyer was called back to London, and basically the entire thing was criticized heavily. And finally Hunter Committee blamed MK Gandhi for this. And basically it is said that MK Gandhi was responsible for deterioration of law and order in the country. If MK Gandhi could not have started the Hartal, but this was MK Gandhi himself did not anticipated that such a blunder would happen, because he believed that non-violent protest is the right of it's a right, it's a liberty of every what we say citizen. But he did not knew that such a brutal step would be followed by the Britishers. Now, after Jallianwallah Bagh, this incident has been mentioned in very few books. This is called as crawling order. Now, what happened basically, before General Dyer went away, what happened? Martial law was imposed in Punjab. And when people came to know, very interesting incident, please listen carefully. When people came to know that this incident had happened, although martial law was imposed, there was spurt of violence in certain regions of Punjab. Now, what happened? There was a what we say British missionary lady whose name was Markela Sherwood. Now, she was a Christian missionary from the Church of England. Now, she was living for like few years in the region of Amritsar in Punjab, basically. Now, once in the morning, basically, she was riding on her bicycle. Now, around 15 to 20 men, they saw her and they were very angry, basically, with the Britishers now. Now, what did they do? Basically, these 15 to 20 men, they basically, what we say, they saw Markela Sherwood. And when they saw her, they took her out of the cycle, basically bicycle, and they beat this lady. And it is said that a stick was blown on her head and she started bleeding again, but she started running basically towards her home. But when she reached her home, basically, already certain what we say people had reached there, an angry mob had reached there, and she was beaten up there again. But when the police came, all the crowd, what we say, they went back again. Now she was heavily bleeding and she was taken up to the hospital. Now General Dyer came to know about the situation. Now see, General Dyer had taken the step. Certain people who had attacked that lady, this step was a wrong step. Okay. Now government should have taken action against those people. But what did General Dyer again do? He passed a very foolish order, and that is called as crawling order. Now wherever now this lady was living in a particular chalk. Okay. Now she was living in a particular area which was a very famous area in Amritsar. Now everybody who has to go to other part of the city had to go through her place where she was living. So what did he pass an order that is called as crawling order? Anybody who wants to go to the other part of the city and is going from the front of the house of Markela Sherwood has to cross that place on his belly. He has to crawl on the belly. Such a derogatory law that was passed by General Dyer. And finally, MK Gandhi said one statement: Britishers have lost the moral authority to govern this country. I repeat, Britishers have lost the moral right to govern this country because completely they have lost all the ethics. This entire incident in the history of modern India is referred as Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre, and crawling order. These are certain important facts. Yes, my friends, did you understand Emergence of Gandhi, Rowlatt Act, and Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre? Yes, we can even see the bullet shots even today on the walls basically. Sarfaraz, knighthood means a title that is given basically to a particular nationalist rank. Okay? Yes, guys, are the points clear? Not Marshal Dyer. He assassinated Brigadier General Dyer. Okay? Dipesh, we are going to study that when we are going to study Udham Singh. Yes, guys, did you understand everything? Was everything interesting? Yes, guys? Okay. Please write down today's question for homework. Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre exemplified the loss of moral authority by the Britishers to govern the nation. I repeat, Jallianwallah Bagh Massacre exemplified the loss of moral authority by the Britishers to govern the nation. Comment 150 words, 6.5 minutes. Okay? Yes, the lady was an English one. Yes, Satya. Okay, thank you, Harmeet. Okay, guys, if you like my lectures, please subscribe to Unacademy and use my code AKOUS. I repeat the code AKOUS. Thank you and have a very nice day, everyone.